Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Jason Robert Brown's musical The Last 5 Years hits the big screen on Valentine's Day. It stars Jeremy Jordan and Anna Kendrick, and I caught up with the film's director, Richard LaGravenese, just days before the big event.
Jamie is over and Jamie is gone. Jamie's decided it's time to move on. Jamie has new dreams he's building upon, and I'm still hurting.
Did I just hear an alarm start ringing? Did I see sirens go flying past? I've got a singular impression things are moving too fast. Pretty good, right?
I've never been more attracted to you.
I'm a musical theater fanatic, and Todd Graff is one of my best friends, and we go to theater often. And I had missed the original production, but I heard from a lot of musical theater people that it's one of the best scores. And so Todd gave me the CD in the early part of this century. I guess it was like 2004, 2005. And I just kept listening to it over and over and over and over. I got obsessed with it. And I used to fantasize about doing a small little jewel of a movie with it, for a very low budget, independently, so that no one would, because I wanted to keep it in its original form. I didn't want to impose a screenplay on it. I didn't want to Hollywoodize it, because many of us who love musical theater are wary of musicals that we love going to screen because they cut songs, or they change things, or they put actors who can't sing, which I can't stand, and so it drives me nuts. So I wanted to keep it. The only thing I changed is that I kept imagining it as the songs being playable scenes where they were singing to each other as opposed to just being monologues, because that added a whole nother layer to it. So other than that, it's all in its form. So I loved it, and I kept fantasizing about it, and then I was doing this movie called P.S. I Love You, and Sherry Renee Scott came in to audition, and the first thing I said, like a total geek, was, "Oh my God, last 5 years!" And she said, "Oh yeah." I said, "I've had this idea," so she introduced me to her then husband, Kurt Deutsch, and they had Shikaboom Records, who did the album, and he became my first partner, and he introduced me to Jason Robert Brown, and then we just started playing with it. We never thought it was going to happen. So while I was doing paying gigs and stuff, I'd be working on this, and Jason was living in LA at the time, so anytime I was in LA, we'd hook up and talk, and I'd work on pages. And eventually, it just all sort of started to come together. We found great producers, Kurt and I, our partners, and we hired Anna, she attached herself to it, thank God, before Pitch Perfect came out. So that helped a great deal as well, because I had seen her in Todd's movie Camp, so I knew she was, awesome, and then her performance in Up in the Air. So it all sort of started to come together, and it's kind of unbelievable that we did it.
Now, casting Jeremy, you had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, well, Bernie Telsey, wonderful Bernie Telsey. We saw different people. There are a lot of people, oddly enough, actors, film actors, who just happen to love this score and sent themselves in on audition doing it in their hotel rooms. And my deal with Jason was I picked the actor because it had to be people who could act the songs, but he had to tell me if they could sing the score, because it's a tough score. And so a lot of them couldn't sing the score. I knew Jeremy could.
Yeah.
And so I worked with him at Bernie's office, and I had him do If I Didn't Believe in You, and which is a one-act play in itself, because he starts off very supportive and then he winds up being angry and cruel. And I knew if he could get to that place, and then I knew he could do the rest of the show. And he did, and he kind of knocked me out. I wanted actors who were not worried about their voices, because literally they were singing the songs live for 12 hours a day, and in order to give great performances, they had to be completely confident that their sound was right. So I was very lucky.
That number blew me away, because it's one continuous take, isn't it?
If I Didn't Believe in You, yeah. That came out of rehearsals. We shot in 21 days, from June to July. April, before, I had Anna for 5 days, and we were in an empty room with a piano player, some blocks, and a Cap 21. And my cinematographer, Steven, with his red. And we shot the rehearsals, which I think are going to be on a DVD. And on that one, I said, improv the argument, just have the argument, which they improvised, and then move anywhere you want, and we'll just follow you. And when they did that, Steve and I looked at each other and went, I don't want to cut at all. I just want it to be one sort of scenes from a marriage with a. Suddenly it was like a Cassavetes movie with
Yeah.
songs. So it was, we dug it. Yeah.
Were you a big Cassavetes fan growing up?
I remember my mother taking me to see Woman Under the Influence, which was kind of the mom I had. She was like, she loved that movie.
Because this filmmaking takes me back to that. 'Cause you've done these big, big movies, and this was something.
I want it to be very organic and real because I'm asking an audience to believe that the people in this movie sing and they don't talk. So everything around it to me had to be very real and grounded and organic, for lack of a better word.
Why do you think they work so well together?
I believe, I don't know, it's just an instinct, I believe that they have sex. I believe that they click. There's a chemistry. There's something it just happens when you cast that you just believe it. It's hard to sort of put into terms. I just believed it.
What was the easiest number for you to shoot, and what was the hardest?
The hardest was Shmuel. Figuring out Shmuel was the toughest. And in the years leading up to production, I used to say to Jason, do you want to write an original and maybe we won't do Shmuel? He was like, no. He said, Shmuel's part of this. I was like, okay. I know, it is. That's the show. I'm going to do Shmuel. Then I tried to avoid it. And I went, you know what? I'll do it as an animated version. And I met with animators. And for a long time, that's what we were going to do. And I thought... first of all, there was a budget problem with that, but then I thought, wait a minute, it's a 6-minute song. I cannot stop the movie for 6 minutes with a cartoon. So then I went back into the song, and it always confused me a little bit in terms of lyrics and stuff, and then I realized it's not what he's singing, it's why he's singing it. And once that key opened the whole thing, because it's his intention, and then it became one of the most important songs, because you see how much he loves her, and the efforts that he'll go through to get her back, to help her spirits, to get her out of her own head, and the issues that she has. And then later on in Nobody Needs to Know, when he says, I build a treehouse, I keep it from falling. That's an example, to me, that's what he does. He must have done that 1,000,000 times with her. And then at that point, he's at a point where he can't do it anymore. He's tired. And it doesn't work, because she's in her own way at that point. So that was the toughest one. And we staged it in the apartment on a Sunday. We shot it on a Monday. He sang it for about 12 hours in like 92-degree heat, and the idea was to build the lighting so that it. And Anna did such a beautiful job of going from bummed out and angry and frustrated to just melting by the end of it and being so in love with him. So I'm very proud of that one. But that was the toughest.
And the easiest.
The easiest to shoot?
Yeah.
Easy to shoot.
I love that. Going through the whole show.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't easy for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still hurting because I had it in my head so clear when I was shooting it. It was Anna did an incredible job. I mean, that circular camera shot she did multiple. I think about 17 times. Not because of her voice, but because the camera kept hitting the table and stuff. But that, design-wise and shooting-wise, was easy for me, but emotionally for her it was intense. And those were the last 4 days of the shooting. Was Still Hurting, If I Didn't Believe in You, Nobody Needs to Know, and the last day was Goodbye Until Tomorrow. That was the last day we shot. And all those days, it was a Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah. And most of this score, all the songs were primarily done live.
11 of the 14 are done live. They had earwigs. They had laid down temporary tracks earlier. We took their vocals out. And the ones that aren't are ones because of the way I had envisioned them. He's riding on a bike, or she's running in the field, or she's in a car. Yeah. So those are fewer pre-records. But even Moving Too Fast is a mix, because when he's in the bedroom, in bed with her, talking about some people never know love, that's live. So that's kind of a mix of pre-recorded and live.
So what was the best part of that for you, recording it live, and what was the biggest challenges, all the challenges for that?
Because of the camera moves, having the actor sing and holding your breath while the camera made these long kind of moves was kind of a challenge. Jeremy recommended, and we used the sound crew from Smash, and they did an extraordinary job, because I expected to do a lot of dubbing and redoing, but like in Goodbye Until Tomorrow, on the stairs outside of her apartment, that's all live, and that was done outside, and they did an incredible job recording her. Yeah. And also Lawrence Manchester, our music supervisor, is just a genius in the mixing room and the sound. So, that was the challenge. I guess mostly exterior stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And working with Jason Robert Brown on this, and the genius of him, what it's been like.
He's one of the smartest, funniest men I know, and he was so supportive. Again, neither one of us thought it would ever be done. So he was very, very supportive. And then when we started shooting, he didn't want to interfere in any way. And he was also working on Bridges of Madison County.
Yeah.
But on set, I had Georgia Stitt, who is his
Sure.
wife, who's a very accomplished, very talented, beautiful composer, lyricist. And she was my right arm on set. So she would warm up the actors every day. And then after every take, I looked to her and like, was that right? Did that sound right? Because I'm thinking about a million things. And she was my music person on set.
What was the best part of the whole experience?
The whole experience.
The whole experience.
It was the greatest.
Yeah.
For me, number one, it was a musical. Number two, I had no studio or executives or any kind of that drama. It was everyone was showing up every day to work on what we were working on because it certainly wasn't for the salaries. And we all cared about it and had this really. It was the most creatively fulfilling experience I ever had. So I absolutely loved it.
Would you like to film another musical?
Yeah,
Anything
yeah.
in mind?
Well, I'm not going to direct. I just rewrote Gypsy for Streisand. That I just finished that with her this past fall, just before Christmas. So hopefully that'll go somewhere. They're looking for a director now. I'm working on a musical idea for theater. So yeah, I definitely want to keep doing this kind of thing. I love it.
I could wander Paris after dark, take a carriage ride through Central Park, but it wouldn't be as nice as a summer in Ohio, where I'm sharing a room with a former stripper and her snake. I love you. Wayne.
Oh my God.
Look at me. Look at him. Son of a bitch, I guess I'm doing something right. I finally got something right.
Kathy, I have to go.
You do not have to go.
Kathy.
Kathy!